Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I move the motion relating to vilification of minority groups in the terms in which it appears on the notice paper, and note that it was the motion was seconded by the member for Bonner.
You proceed.
I'm very pleased to move the motion circulated in my name, recognising that social harmony is vital for the continuation of a successful Australian democracy. The south side of Brisbane is particularly diverse. There are many cultures, many ethnicities and many religions. Happily, for the most part, my community is a thriving melting pot and the epitome of social harmony. But sadly, there are people, both in the community and in this very parliament, who want to destroy the social harmony that exists in our communities. For some time now, gutless, nasty individuals have targeted religious minorities across Australia. I would suggest that these individuals are encouraged by politicians, commentators and others with a public platform who want to destroy the social cohesion that we are so proud of in my community, in fact in every community. Some recent incidents have shaken the south side to its core and will have a lasting impact on those involved. The exposure draft of the Morrison government's Religious Freedom Bill purports to provide freedom for individuals to manifest their religious belief in practice, in speech and in their teaching within the confines of the law. So far, the exposure draft has received much criticism from almost everyone, from business groups right through to religious bodies. We'll need to wait and see what the Morrison government eventually settles on in the final bill. But one thing is certain, the bill in its current form does not provide any protections from vilification or even violence based on a person's religious belief, the very thing that my community wants and needs. The dangerous physical attacks experienced recently on people of Muslim faith in my community were likely seeded in religious vilification and incitement of hatred going unchecked. And I know that my good friend Ed Husick has mentioned that in Parliament as well. The cowardly online warriors are spraying their bile 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and our young people are faced with this all the time. The Office of the E-Safety Commissioner in a research study found that 53% of Australian youth have witnessed anti-Muslim harmful content online. These are young Australians aged between 12 and 17, just children. Imagine what the impact this has on these kids. Online vilification and incitement of hatred is the seed that cultivates hate crime. Hate breeds harm and often even worse. Online vilification and incitement of hatred has real-world consequences. It emboldens those susceptible to that rhetoric to go out and harm real people. Sadly, attacks on Australian citizens are more likely to be directed against women, Muslim women because of their modest clothing choices, and often when they're accompanied by their children. Most victims of these cowardly attacks do not report it to the police. Islamophobia is the most prolific online vilification, according to the E-Safety Commissioner. But other religions, such as those of the Jewish faith and Christians, are also targeted online. If we're to protect religious freedom in Australia, it is core to that freedom that individuals are free to manifest their faith and belief without fear of vilification or violence to themselves or to their family. For my community on the south side of Brisbane, it is vitally important that we do not lose the social harmony we've worked so hard to achieve over the last few decades. The Islamic community is a crucial part of that fabric on Brisbane's south side. They're always ready to support, help those who are most vulnerable. Just throwing a couple of examples of their selfless generosity, they've donated funds for swimmers with Down syndrome to compete in the Down Syndrome International Swimming Championship overseas. They've donated bales of hay for animals in drought-affected parts of Queensland. They've fundraised and donated drinking water to the residents of Stanthorpe. They've supplied snack packs for brothers in need, as well as hot food and sleeping bags for the homeless in Brisbane. And hopefully they won't need it next month, but if it doesn't rain, they'll also deliver hay and water to Stanthorpe again. These are the people who are experiencing vilification in our community. They're generous, they're warm-hearted, they're community-minded people who won't walk past a person in need without reaching out and offering its support. In fact, their faith demands it of them. They're the first to support and celebrate our diverse and multi-faith community. They're the first to volunteer in times of disaster. And they're the first to be vilified when it's convenient for commentators and politicians who want to stir up fear and division for their own selfish political or media games. They're our friends, our neighbours. They're my friends, they're my neighbours. I call on the Morrison government to protect this community and all religious communities at risk of endangerment from vilification and incitement of hatred and violence, and ask all of the Abrahamic faiths and other religions to join me in this cause.